Hey, what's up, you guys? Michael here. Today we're going to be talking about how we insert external CAD models into your Fusion 360 software. Um, we're actually working on a project right now designing a desktop robot. I had a previous version that I just kind of used servo motors for that I bought at an RC store near me. But the robot was way too jittery and had terrible reliability. So I just immediately almost scrapped the project. Upon looking at other projects on YouTube, I noticed a lot of sturdier robots that were achieving precision of, zero point 0.2 millimeters or better using stepper motors. So I went ahead and bought some NEMA 23 stepper motors. The problem was, though, is that when they came in, they were a little bit bigger than kind of what I want my robot to be. I really want it to be a smaller robot that, can be maybe controlled by some sort of, Xbox controller, some sort of handmade or self-designed controller, where it doesn't take up a lot of room and it's not very big. So this brings me to the video today. Fusion 360 has the ability to insert external CAD models, not just from third-party sources or companies like GitHub, but actually within the software itself. So we're going to go ahead and get right to it. The first thing that we're going to do is go ahead and actually save and name the project. In our case, we're just going to call this the stepper motor gearbox because we're actually going to import some sort of stepper motor, and then of course start designing a cycloidal gearbox, 10 or 15 to 1. But first, we want to get an idea of the stepper motor. I don't want to go out and buy a stepper motor because sometimes they're very expensive or they take multiple days to get here, and I'm ready to start designing now. Also, you know, I just really just don't want to spend the money on it. So we're going to go up here to insert, up at the right here. And as you can see, we have multiple different places that we can get some CAD models from. So the first one being a McMaster car component, which is what we're going to use today. We have a insert manufacturer part. This is a parts for CAD. They have hundreds and hundreds of suppliers and manufacturer catalogs with the actual CAD models associated with them. That makes it extremely easy to design around some suppliers and manufacturers. We also have trace part suppliers. This is millions of CAD models from many, many different supplier catalogs. So if you can't find what you're looking for as far as, bearings, nuts, bolts, stepper motors, shafts, anything, aluminum extrusion, anything that you can pretty much think of, then you're just going to have to use a third-party source like GitHub or something else. But let's go ahead and click on McMaster car component. From here, it brings us to the actual browse catalog. And as you can see, we have tons of different options. We have nuts and bolts all the way to staplers and rivet tools, cable ties, hand tools, some heating and cooling equipment. At the top, we're going to go ahead and push or type in a stepper motor. And we know that the NEMA 23, I may have said 27 earlier, but I meant 23. That is too big for us because we actually bought one and I just didn't like the size of it. So we're probably going to maybe stick with something like the NEMA 11 or the NEMA 14. Them are a little bit smaller. I know the NEMA 17 is also probably a little bit too big. So we'll probably be either the 11 or the 14. So we're going to go ahead and click on NEMA 11 here. And you see we can filter here on the left side from different kind of, specs. We can, filter between overall length, shaft diameters, and shaft length. From here, it's all just going to depend on what you're looking for. So you're going to have to actually do the work and kind of read through the specs, the sizes, your RPMs, some more fine detail stuff, how long it is. For our particular case, we're going to go ahead and go with this top one. As you can see, it's only 2.1 inches long. And we're going to select it. Once we click on it, it's going to bring us to these product details, and it's going to give us a little scroll down of the different types of way we can export this or download this file. By default, I believe it's always 3D SolidWorks. So if you're doing this with SolidWorks, you would go ahead and just insert it that way. But for our case, for Fusion 360, we're going to go ahead and just click 3D step. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and download. Once you download it, it'll actually bring it in to the file or the project that you're currently in. So for us, it's still the stepper motor gearbox. And of course, it brings you into this kind of this move copy. So if you want to move it up and down, if you want to go ahead and import it straight into a design and immediately put it somewhere where it needs to be, you can also do that. But for our case, we're just going to go ahead and click OK. So now we have our CAD model. So of course we can kind of we can move our cube here. We can get some different views on it, kind of get an idea of what it looks like. For some CAD models, you can actually do an inspect section analysis, maybe select a face, and then of course you can pull this little arrow here. You can maybe do a section analysis and see what it looks like. You can also actually measure it. So the goal for us is to 3D print this, put it in our hands, and kind of get an idea of how big this thing is. And if we want to use it, do we want to go up to maybe a NEMA 14? Do we want to go up to a NEMA 17? Whatever we decide to do, we can just kind of get an idea. We can click on measure here. From there, we can actually, maybe select this edge. You see it highlights black, so we can select that. And then we can come over here to another edge if we want the distance between here to here, and we'll left click. And you can see here we're at 27.94 millimeters right here. We can close it, or we can use, we can close it and then we can use the Command I, which will also bring us into the measure tool. And we can also get maybe a distance or a length from here to the bottom. And you can see it's 32 millimeters tall. So, only maybe a couple inches, maybe 2 inches or so. Half. And from there over here, from there we can actually see our distance over here on the right side. Now we can click close. Now at this point, all we have to do, at least for this particular video, this project, all we have to do is just go ahead and export this to your native CAD software. You can see right here, I've already put this into a slicer. And you see it's going to only take me 57 minutes to print this with PLA. So in order to do this, you have several options, but from my experience, I like to do it a certain way because it's easier, especially if you're using an external slicer. So if you click on the file icon up here in the top left, you will see that you have the option to export or to 3D print. If I click 3D print, you see that I have to click STL. I have to choose whether it's binary or SAC2. I also have to determine if it's going to be millimeters, inches, feet. Also a refinement, and then you have to kind of do all these extra steps. For me, I prefer to go to File and go to Export here. From here, you can actually name it. You can export it as an STL file, a step file, an IGES file, whatever you decide to use and whatever you like to use with your software, your slicer software. You would select that and then you would actually export it. It would export it to the location that you specify. From there, you can go to your slicer. In my case, I use a Prusa slicer. You can go and, File, open a project, and then select where you save that within your actual laptop or your computer. But yeah, so that's how you import an external CAD model into your Fusion 360 designs. If you have any questions, please comment down below and go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you so much.